Hello, hello. Welcome everyone to our webinar today. My name's Natalie. I'm the Education Program Lead here at Banzai, and you've got the School Sponsor Connection, building a winning teacher-sponsor partnership. A few housekeeping things before we dive into the webinar. If you have audio issues, check your device's audio settings. We always get someone in the chat that's saying, I can't hear. And a lot of times that means you're connected to a Bluetooth device that you're not aware of. So your headphones or someone else, just check to make sure that your audio is actually on your computer if you're having some issues with that. And speaking of the chat, if you have questions, we have the chat down below that'll be monitored. And if you have any questions, we would love to hear them. We'd also love to hear where you're joining us from and what you teach at school. And we'd also love for you to connect with us anytime on our social media platforms. We have a lot of fun giveaways and different promotions and things that we do on there. And that's at Teach Bonsai. Let me see if we've got any questions so far. Got two people in the chat. Awesome. So today we have with us two very special guests, and I'm really, really excited for this. We have Jessica Zarnke, who is a Wisconsin PFL Fellow. So that's a Personal Financial Literacy Fellow at the Loyal School in Wisconsin. And we have Ashley Landwehr, Financial Literacy Coordinator at Simplicity Credit Union. And they're going to be sharing with us about their unique partnership. Now, I wanted to just take a minute before we dive in to explain what a sponsor is. Here at Banzai, sponsors are the magical people that help us provide financial literacy for free. They invest in financial literacy in their local community and make Banzai free for all teachers. So if you have a sponsor, when you are in your Banzai teacher apps, logged into the Banzai app and on your teacher profile, you will see a little sponsor tab at the top. And I can show you that at the end of this webinar as well, where you can reach out to your sponsor. And, every sponsor has a different level of bandwidth and what they can do and what they offer, but you might be able to do things like request a presentation, send a thank you note to your sponsor, or have your kids send thank you notes to your sponsor. You can request workbooks. Those workbooks are also available in PDF format for people without sponsors, but you can request printed workbooks your sponsor will pay for and ship to your school for free. And a lot of really amazing other things. And we have some sponsors that are doing really dynamic things, like what Simplicity Credit Union is doing with the Loyal School. And I'm going to turn it over to Jessica and Ashley to tell you about that now.
Awesome. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you so much for having us. I'm just going to share our slide deck here. Okay. All right. Yes, so excited to be here. Again, my name is Ashley Landwehr from Simplicity Credit Union, Jess Zarnke from Loyal School. And we are just going to share about how we have used Banzai to build our partnership together.
Absolutely. So Ashley's going to advance to the next slide, and this is just a brief timeline of how the Loyal Financial Literacy Program got started and a little bit about me and how we do what we do here in rural central Wisconsin. So I've been in my K-12 financial literacy full-time teaching role since January of 2019. So I just hit 7 years in January. It's just been a crazy, amazing adventure. Every year's look different, but the program's been growing. And I'm so grateful for all of our school district, our partnerships like Simplicity, like Banzai, many great organizations. But specifically too, our program here in Loyal exists through the incredible generosity of Dr. Eldon Hill and his family. So Eldon has since passed at 102 years of age a couple of Aprils ago. Incredible man, but his children, Dr. Carter Hill out on the West Coast, and his other children carry on his legacy, and they have so generously donated through an endowment through the Eau Claire Community Foundation to fully fund this K-12 financial literacy program. So that has started, as you can see on your screen, it started in 2014 with a grant, $25,000 grant in 2017 to get the program launched here in Loyal, and then a fully funded K-12 teacher and program starting in September 2018. So I stepped into my role in January of 2019, and you can see we've grown leaps and bounds with incredible sponsors, incredible partnerships and stakeholders and support throughout those years. But one thing that I want to highlight and what Ashley and I are here to highlight today is that partnership with Banzai and how Ashley and I met through Banzai, which you'll hear more about in just a little bit. But through that, we were able to open a Simplicity Credit Union real school branch right here in our district. So we're wrapping up year 3 of this partnership. And so we have 4K students all the way through 12th grade coming into a room right adjacent to my classroom. It's a conference room, and they're making real deposits in their real savings account, growing at over 7% interest thanks to Simplicity Credit Union. So it's been an incredible journey. And we couldn't do it without, truly it takes a village. There's lots of key players in this, but we're really excited to highlight that special partnership with our local credit union today. So that's just a little bit about me, and I'll pass it over then to Ashley to take that over.
All right. So Simplicity Credit Union was founded in 1949. Our financial literacy efforts started really in the 90s with classroom efforts and school to work students. Our first school branch was opened in 2005, and that's the Spash branch over on the right. All of these are in central Wisconsin, as is Simplicity. Throughout the years, we have added more and more school branches. We have a total of 4 now. And you can see there's a mix of high school branches, elementary school branches. Loyal is 4K through 12. And they operate just a little bit different, those elementary branch and Loyal branch, than the high school branches. The high school branches are full functioning, and they have daily micro lessons. So there's a topic every month that is the overarching lesson, and every day they come in and do like a quick 5-minute hands-on or creative thinking lesson. We also try to get out in our communities as much as possible, spreading the financial literacy as much as we can, whether that is investing, budgeting, mortgages is a big one that we do community seminars on. So we just kind of get involved a little bit of everywhere. We partner with a lot of local resources and organizations to bring education forward as well. We will talk just a little bit more about how our Loyal branch operates in a minute. That's really the bread and butter of why we are here. But I do want to mention Banzai. We have been a partner with Banzai for as long as I can remember, quite honestly. I don't even know that I have the official date. I've been at the credit union for 16 years, and as far as I've been here, we've been a sponsor. I have the opportunity to work closely with Banzai and support so many different schools by doing so in my role as the financial education coordinator. And we are so grateful that this is a resource.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ashley. So basically, I started January of 2019. I believe it was January 8th of 2019, and Ashley dug up some records, and I think I requested to be a teacher user of Banzai January 15th. So a few short days after I started at Loyal teaching financial literacy, I remember looking through, literally Google searches of like, okay, I'm new to this. I've got a passion. I'm excited. I've got some understanding, but again, how can I build this to reach our students at all of these different grade levels? And truthfully, I don't remember the exact moment, but knowing me and my love for Google searches, I probably ran across Banzai in a Google search. And so then that was when that happened. Found Banzai, created a teacher account, and requested, because that's an option for a local credit union to come in to do a classroom presentation. I was like, oh, that would be great to meet more community partners, to learn myself, but also to reach our students and to help them learn, and to build a potential partnership. We don't know where it will go. So truthfully, it was because of Banzai that Ashley and I met. So thank you, Banzai. But also here to find out she used to ride the same bus that my now husband used to ride. So small world connections, which have made our working partnership just so incredible in so many ways. But through that, we met, and Ashley was the one that reached out and said, hey, we're your Banzai sponsor. So it was free for myself as the teacher, all of my students. We started playing elementary level Banzai, middle school, and high school. Every student in this building knows Banzai because we use it, because I believe in what it teaches. I love the pre and post test features and the gamified lessons. It works, it's real. So that itself was a major win. But then Ashley reached out and she came in for a classroom presentation and we hit it off. And I loved what she was teaching. I loved the resources and the energy she was bringing. And she was more than happy to keep coming in to various grade levels. And so she started with second and third grade. She had a really cool activity with the moon jar and a really unique story about two little characters, and they took tea cartons or containers and made a moon jar, and it was the spend, save, share. So, and then students got to construct their own moon jar. And so she facilitated and taught that lesson and then provided the resources. So all of these students got to take home these awesome little moon jars as second and third graders, and to teach and encourage the importance of saving, the importance of spending, and really importantly, the importance of sharing. And so all of these types of things that we can do with money. And so that was kind of our first year, and I continued utilizing Banzai, and Ashley and I continued talking, and we're like, hey, I love what you do for second grade and third grade that year. Could we do something every year, but for every grade level, do a different lesson? So over the last handful of years, well, more than a handful, Ashley has come up with a kindergarten lesson, a first grade lesson. Second grade is our moon jar lesson. Every second grader looks so forward because their big brothers and sisters have come home with, and they're like, this is my year. I get to make the moon jar. Third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. So it really ranges from needs and wants in first grade to what is a credit union or a bank in kindergarten, to spending, saving, sharing in second grade. Third grade, she talks about loans and interests and has this really cool playground example and has the kids using that decision-making model of well, what place set are we going to get? Here's the price. What does that mean if we take out a loan? How much interest will we pay? She breaks it down beautifully. Fourth grade, they're learning about checking accounts and transactions, deposits and withdrawals. And then fifth grade, a big emphasis we have here through the K-12 financial literacy program and the generosity of the Hill family is really a strong emphasis on investing. And so already in elementary, we're teaching students in upper elementary about investing, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, diversifications, all of those types of things. And so Ashley created an incredible lesson that she shares with the fifth grade about the stock market and about the different stock market sectors. And so fifth graders are already learning about that through our program, through the Hill family and the Eau Claire Community Foundation, but also through this partnership with Simplicity. Last year, her and a colleague that oversees the scams and identity theft, they came in and did a presentation with our eighth graders, very hands-on, very informative. And then Ashley has helped in numerous ways with our high school students with our mock interviews. ACP is a big thing here in Wisconsin, academic and career planning. And so a lot of those standards fall into personal financial literacy and what we teach here and that real life skill and real application. And so Ashley has helped with being a community interviewer for our high school students that are doing mock interviews. So Ashley's helped in so many different ways over the years, but truly it was Banzai that connected us.
All right. Well, I am so blessed to have Jess as a partner. As you can see, she's very passionate about everything that she does. I see my arrow is like no longer an arrow over here. Ooh, messing things up now. So I do want to share on how you guys can get in touch with your sponsor. So all of this began because, as you heard, Jess found her sponsor. There are amazing sponsors all throughout the areas that Banzai covers. So if you want to get in touch with your sponsor, I'm sure that they would be more than happy to not only do presentations in your classrooms, but also virtual presentations if that's something you're interested in. Also, there's another option to do, I mean, pretty much anything that Jess mentioned, um, the interviews, the job shadows is something that we've done, even tours of organizations. That is an option as well. Pretty much, if you can imagine it, if your sponsor is willing to do it, make it happen. It all just starts with two people wanting to make it a success. So to access your sponsor in Banzai, behind my blob that was an arrow, there's a sponsor button right here. And it's going to show who your sponsor is as an organization and then the sponsor information. So that is going to be like the main person that runs Banzai and, their credit union. It might not necessarily be the person that is best suited for the presentation. So at Simplicity, I'm like the first go for all financial literacy. I do most of the presentations, school branches, all of that. As you can hear, I'm in a school bell. And but that might not necessarily be the case with every sponsor. So they might have one person that is the program system organizer and another person that is best qualified for the type of presentation that you want. And it's great to have a diversity. It's always best to have a subject matter expert, but it's always good to have, that one good contact. So I definitely encourage you to find who your one person is to get all the different things set up. If you scroll down, that's where you can send the thank you. Natalie mentioned this earlier. You can send any message you want. As sponsors, we love seeing these. These are what make it worth it for us, especially when you have your students. When they log in, they have an option to send a message to a sponsor. Those are my favorite things to get. Even if it's simple as bills are expensive, which is we get that message way more than you would think, but I love it. We are actually putting some of those student statements in our annual scorecard this year because it just makes, hearing from the students and the teachers is what makes it worth it for us. Requesting a sponsor lesson. This right here is the button that Jess clicked back in 2019. And it pops up this message, request sponsor help. And there are the three options: virtual presentation, interested in a guest speaker coming to my classroom, and then the field trip option. So it on here says subjects such as budgeting, saving, and then whatever you'd like. So we want to make sure that when we come to your classroom that you and your students are getting the most of the time. So really, don't be afraid to be specific with your sponsor of this is what we're learning, this is what we're looking for, because we don't want to just, come in and say hi. We want to make sure that we're having an impact as well. So don't ever think that you're asking for too much by being specific. We like that. As you heard Jess talk about the different presentations from, K through 5, what, really prompted what I present on for each of those is that we sat down and said, okay, this is what they're learning about in this grade at this time. Okay, how can we brainstorm, like, what kind of lesson? So as much as I adore you for trying to give me credit on that, you are just as much credit worthy, because it's the two of us that came together and said, this is what is appropriate for these ages, because the teachers, you guys are the ones that work with the students day in and day out. You know what is going to be an appropriate lesson. And we, year after year, it's wonderful because now, it's been a number of years and I come in and the students are like, oh, it's Miss Ashley here. What are we learning about today? So that is really kind of cool. They have started to recognize that Simplicity logo. They know that they're a safe, trusted partner of the school, that, we're not in the school to push our own products or agenda. We're here for financial education. And I think that is, probably the biggest hurdle that a lot of sponsors face, is that, we really are here for the education. That's why we're a sponsor. And a lot of times we get pushback of like, well, yeah, but are you going to solicit? That's not what the goal is, especially, if you're coming in as a sponsor of Banzai. It's education first. On the flip side, so this is our sponsor side. So I just kind of wanted to show like what this looks like. I pulled up Jess here. We can see her sign up date, January 15th. And her contact information there. What I love about this is that I can not only see the history of orders, if they left the sponsor a comment, if they requested a presentation or anything, but I can also email directly from here and it shows in their inbox as like your sponsor sent you a message. So it kind of builds that connection right away, that I'm not just some random person reaching out. Like, we have that middle ground already. And I've built a few, different connections that way as well with other schools. All right.
So moving on, right? A picture is worth a million words, and so you can see it right there. That is my classroom, or classrooms throughout the years. In 7 years, I've moved a couple of times, or have even been on a cart. But you can see it if you're like, oh, the classroom looks different. The bottom right-hand corner was in the early years, and some of these were most recently this year or last year. But you can see the engagement that these elementary students are having, hands up, pair share, partner work, small group, student, driven, a lot of smiles, a lot of engagement, a lot of interaction, and truthfully, a lot of learning. So you can just kind of soak that in. Again, kind of going back to what Ashley said, makes it worth it. And seeing these smiles and the excitement and the learning taking place is just incredible. So these are all real loyal students and real moments that they've experienced in the classroom learning financial literacy, in particular with Ashley from Simplicity. So yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of cool memories. So, moving on from there, I think I'll hand it, Ashley, to you in terms of when we kind of started talking more. So we established this relationship through Banzai. Then we grew the amount of presentations that were happening. And then I can't recall exactly when the light bulb came on and why we thought maybe starting a mobile branch was a good idea. But Ashley will start how that all transpired.
Yeah, thanks. So I think it really came to light, throughout the years of presentations, we became friends, really. And we are talking about, how much more can we do just to get the two organizations together, Simplicity and Loyal. And it started with, what do other school districts do? And what came up is one of our other school branches, the elementary branch, and how that operates. And that was really what kind of sparked us to be like, we could do that here. So just to kind of give you an idea, I know there's actual words on this one, crazy. Um, all right, so how our school branch works is that it is actually a student-run branch. So at the beginning of every school year, we work with 8th and 9th grades, and there's trial and error in everything. The first year, we had 8th graders, and then we added 7th graders because they're smaller classes and we didn't get the interest. Then we went to 8th and 9th graders. So it's really, it's going to be trial and error anytime you start something new. And I think that, as long as you know that and recognize that. Sorry, can you hear the announcements going off? All right, as long as you know that and recognize that and you have that partnership, that relationship to be like, okay, all right, we're going to brainstorm, we're going to pivot. That's, really what it's all about, is just working together. So those students, at the beginning of the school year, I come into the classroom, say, hey, this is this cool opportunity available just to you guys. They then get to apply, interview with super scary me, and then train for their positions. So teller and marketer positions. The marketers are responsible for getting the word out in their school about the school branch and what we do and why it's a benefit to not only them, but to the school as well. The tellers are the ones that are actually taking the deposits each week. So our school branch is open one day a week before school. So it does not impede with other opportunities for the students. They just have to come to school before they go to their locker. They drop their deposits off, and then they're on their way. It is a deposit-only branch, so we're not giving money out. The goal is to encourage regular saving habits at an early age. So by doing that deposit-only branch, it really kind of impacts that goal. Speaking of goals, we do have a deposit goal per school year. So every school year, we want to hit 500 deposits. So we don't focus on a specific dollar amount that the students have to raise, because it's all about building those saving habits. We have students that find a coin and, bring it to deposit, and that counts. Not everybody is able to deposit the same amount, and we want it to be inclusive. And because we do want it to be inclusive, if there's a student that wants to open an account, as long as they are contributing to that loyal school branch, Simplicity actually gives them the first $5 to open that account. So $5 is the minimum balance that they're required to keep in their account. So they do have to have the account at Simplicity, but we make sure that it's doable for them. And then once they meet that 500 deposits, then Simplicity donates $500 to the school. We are in our 3rd year. The last 2 years, we have met that deposit goal each time. So that's good. We're on a roll. Hope to make it 3. And then we just have some pictures of our student branch. So you can see it's not a brick and mortar. We did not take over a room in the school. This is the conference room that is used for so many different reasons throughout the school year. So in the mornings, Tuesdays, students come in, they utilize that space. You can see we have our goal thermometer. The bottom right is celebrating that first year of meeting the goal. Just did organize the bounce house to come in so the students could celebrate. And then the next year, the kids are like, when are we doing that bounce house again? She's like, well, I don't know. Did you bring your deposit in? So it's kind of something for them to remember, which is great.
hmm Yeah, and just to add to that, like it's just been, again, all of these pictures just bring a smile to my face. Like it really is this community of students. And I love that we can bridge the gap between the very littles, 4K and kindergarten, all the way up through high school. But really honing in on not only just those regular saving habits, right, for our weekly depositors, our regular depositors, which is crucial, right? That's the primary reason. But I love the added bonus to having this school branch here, this mobile branch here at Loyal, because our middle school and high school students, or if you were to do this in your school, whoever would be those student volunteer leaders that are doing the deposit tickets and are the tellers and the marketers, they're learning real world skills, right? So they have to apply and interview for this job and the personal growth that our students have had over the years is incredible. And so there's been a group that now this will be their third year. They started as seventh graders and now they're ninth graders. And they don't want to give it up because they love it. It's a community that they really belong to and they love being a part of this every week. But just seeing their personal growth, many of them were just applying for National Honor Society. So that's an application process as they go throughout high school and they have to track volunteer hours. And so Simplicity volunteer their role as middle school and high school students that has served them well. Letters of recommendation, references, they can come to me and to Ashley to say, can you speak to my work ethic and my character and my integrity? And again, that ACP, that academic and career planning, that goes hand in hand with so much of what's happening here. So again, the goal of regular savings and practicing those habits is crucial, but the personal growth for our student leaders has been an amazing benefit that I didn't initially see when we started this, but after 3 years, almost 3 years of this, the personal growth for our students is tremendous. So that's been an incredible asset as well. So moving on then, we're almost to the Q&A. So if you have questions, we're happy to take those. But moving on, just a few things that Ashley and I will address is just navigating those speed bumps, right? Like she said, every year it's looked a little different, trial and error. I think that's the beauty of it. It's okay if something doesn't work. Well, now we know and let's try something else. And so I think that just mindset of perseverance, we're just going to keep trying and trial and error is what really has become and brought us to this very successful point of having such a well-established program. So with that, I'll hand it over to Ashley just to share a little bit more about those speed bumps.
Yeah, thanks, Jess. So looking at how we got started, we had this great idea of, hey, this is going to be a great benefit to the school. It's going to be great for Simplicity to be involved. But we had to get more people on board than just the two of us. So at Simplicity, this would be our fourth school branch. Thankfully, we have a board that strongly promotes financial literacy. So they were relatively easy to get on board. I did have to present to them, put a business plan together. And then at the school board level, Jess and I both presented at the school board. I never thought twice about presenting to my own board, but presenting to a school board, I was like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think? Like, I don't know. So that was especially just kind of a different experience for me, especially. But they were very open to the idea of it. They thought that there were positives to the students, to the school. But Loyal's a small town in Wisconsin, very built on relationships. There's a bank right here in Loyal that they're like, why are we not utilizing the local bank when Simplicity's and the next town over? So that was something that we're like, oh gosh, like, okay, how do we navigate that? So it was a lot of answering the questions of what our relationship is like currently and why that's a benefit. we definitely advocated for the fact that the students already know simplicity. They know, some of the staff already. They're comfortable with them because of the relationship we have built through, Banzai and those classroom presentations and mock interviews and all of the different avenues. We felt that it would be an encouragement for students to come to a simplicity branch knowing the faces already, knowing that, it's a safe logo. So ultimately, the school board did want to reach out to that other bank first. And, they said, that's just not something that we do. They didn't have a financial literacy program set up. So that was kind of a strange feeling for us of like, ooh, like we feel like we're building this together. But ultimately, it all worked out in the end. But that was probably our biggest speed bump throughout everything. Then scheduling, I mentioned earlier that things are trial and error. It's before school, but just because 4K through 12 are all in one building doesn't mean they have the same schedule. So that is definitely something that we are constantly looking at of, what is the best timing going to work for our high school students to be there? What is the best timing for our elementary students to be able to bring their deposits, and how are we navigating that? Because schedules change just a little bit every year.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. And then to continue with that on the next slide, like Ashley said, we've been in this for almost 3 years now, working to meet that 500 student deposit goal, which is exciting. There were new depositors in this morning, so it continues to build and new families and siblings come in. It's super fun too because Simplicity has a prize wheel, so they have a punch card, and for every 5 deposits, students get to spin the prize wheel and then can take home something with them. My own 3 children. We open enroll the Loyal. We live in the next town over, but I have 3 elementary age children, and so they too are regular depositors. It's good incentive for them and for their allowance, and my husband and I will give them that money to deposit for their weekly allowance into their bank account. But it's been awesome because not only are they motivated then by the prizes and the prize wheels, and today was a prize wheel day, and they usually put everything on my desk for then after school, but I must have tucked it away. But the other cool thing is every quarter we get statements. So we just got statements in the mail, and I was like, you guys, like, look at this. And we sat down as a family, and all these little bits of money that they're earning for their allowance every week, right? Like has been growing and we in compounding, right? And then Simplicity has a really great youth savings account where my kids are earning, and all Simplicity youth are in this account are earning over 7% interest, which is incredible. So we talk a lot about that, not only in the classroom as the financial literacy teacher, but also as a parent. Like, what a great tool to show my kids. Like, it doesn't have to be tens of hundreds of dollars to deposit. A little bit here and a little bit there, that can build up. And look at this nice little nest egg. You guys already have each of your own with your name on it in your real savings account. So that's been really crucial for not only here at school, but also as a parent. I've really appreciated those learning moments at home as well. So continuing with that though, again, just kind of to recap, Ashley helping with our annual presentation. So every winter she comes, all of the elementary kiddos look forward to her classroom visits. Every April, which is Financial Literacy Month, so happy Financial Literacy Month, everyone. But we here at Loyal, the Financial Literacy Program facilitates and hosts a Financial Literacy Family Night to get not only students, but parents and community members here learning about financial literacy as grown-ups, as adults, but also bringing in their family and to have those family conversations about money and about financial mindset and about budgeting and saving and investing. And so I have that here and facilitate and plan that, but I bring in community organizations and individuals. And so Ashley has been a huge part of that over the last few years. So she always comes up with a station, an idea that fits that theme. So 2 years ago, it was all plant themed and growing your savings. And so she had kids digging in soil and these little mini pools in the conference room, digging out coins and learning how to budget. So that was a really cool activity. Um, last year we had it was all pet themed, and an adoption of animals. So Ashley had a station there, and then this year's all sports themed. So again, we're always hitting on that financial literacy, but every year we have a different theme, and I invite community stakeholders to come in. We have a local insurance agency having a station this year. Our local extension educator, she's coming in to have a station as well related to financial literacy. And Ashley, bless her heart, she's always just been willing and able. I'm like, hey, does this date work for you? And she's like, you bet. She comes up with these incredible ideas to tie in financial literacy to our annual theme. But again, that's for students, that's for adults, and it's also to bridge that gap of conversations at home with families. So additionally, like I mentioned, she's helped with our high school mock interviews. We've had students reach out and job shadow at Simplicity and have had incredible experiences. And then this past year, Ashley and Simplicity had offered, our high school doesn't have an ATM, but there's definitely a need for it. And they offered to provide a rebranded, legitimate high school ATM so we can use it for our sporting events, for concessions and admissions. Our students use it frequently to check their balances for their checking accounts and on their debit cards. We've even taken little field trips with the younger elementary kids, and I've used my Simplicity debit card to show them how to make a withdrawal and use an ATM and to keep the PIN a secret and to talk about, all of the safety, but to show them those real world life skills. So that's been a huge valuable asset this year, is having that ATM for real life skills and real life learning. And I love it because if a student has a question, they know where to find me and they can come down the hall and be like, hey, this is my ATM receipt. Tell me about this, or this happened or whatnot. And so it's nice to be able to kind of coach them in real time through that real life adult kind of stuff. So that's been incredible as well. So Ashley, did you want to touch on anything else? Or if not, we're ready for Q&A.
Yeah, I think that brings us to the end of what we have prepared. Um, yeah, we'll open it up to Q&A.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, I'm don't see any questions in the chat yet, but if those watching have any questions, feel free to drop them there. I do have some questions. I'm so curious about this. This is so amazing. I love this idea of particularly the branch in the school. Just because we see statistics about this next generation being unbanked, right? Or not using a bank or a credit union and doing everything from peer-to-peer apps and just the different things like that, right? That they don't understand the value a financial institution can offer to them. Do you feel like this is sort of helping combat that? It sounds like it is to me, like the fact that they're like, oh, I understand how this process works and from a young age, so that like it's kind of demystifying the whole thing. It's not scary to head down and go into a branch, a brick and mortar one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think what we've really learned in our high school branches is that kids are using those digital apps more because they don't have to talk to anybody. They don't have to go in and get anything set up. It's easy. It's a quick walkthrough. So I do think that this will help, those students at Loyal. They already have established accounts. They have trusted financial people being Simplicity people, but also, that financial literacy teacher that they've had from kindergarten to ask those questions to. I mean, that's kind of the goal as to why we're in those high school branches, is to help answer those questions and give them, the education that they need, because there's only so much time in a class period.
For sure.
So, I mean, the real world experience is going to be the most valuable.
Yeah.
Jess, do you have
And
anything to add on that?
No, you hit the nail right on the head.
yeah.
Absolutely.
When I was thinking, apps are great, but at some point you will have to go into a financial institution to talk to someone. And it's good if you feel like you aren't totally out of your depth, that you don't have, like this is a real skill for them. We had a question pop up actually in the Q&A, which is totally great to ask there too. Lisa is asking, how does the account opening happen from an operations standpoint if the students are tellers?
Great question. So the account opening does have to happen outside of the school branch. We generally encourage online account opening because it's the most convenient for parents to do. But they can also go to our brick and mortar buildings and do that, or do a phone appointment, any way that is most convenient for them.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was going to ask, like, what's the level of parental involvement here? And it sounds like they have to help get the account set up initially, which makes sense, and then the student can take it from there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then the other thing just to add is that we always have like an open house at the beginning of the school year every August. And so Ashley will actually be right, near the entrance with other tables and information for families to take as they register and get ready for the school year. But Ashley has been there as well and providing information to parents and families when they walk in, if they have any questions, about their current account and or to set one up. And I've had families reach out to me like, hey, we're interested in participating in Simplicity at school. How do I go about that? So I'll send them the online link to open a youth savings account, but then I CC and circle in Ashley and we get those parents connected so they can easily walk through that process.
Perfect. And so that's really elevating not just the financial literacy of the students, but really the whole family, right? Like you're helping
Mhm.
kind of lift everyone up here and understand what the bank has to offer, what the credit union has to offer. That's so cool. Do you have any ideas for like your loyal school sounds like it's in a really unique spot where it's that K through 12 and you do have those older students that you can pull on to run the branch. If someone was doing a elementary standalone or middle school, do you have any suggestions on like do you think that who they could tap to help be the tellers? Like, would it just be the older, like I think one of my kids is in K through 5. Is
Mhm.
that right? Yeah, K through 5. Would you have a fifth grader be a teller? I mean,
Yeah.
how would you run that? Do you have any ideas? Have you seen that done
Yes.
before?
So we do have an elementary branch where it's 4K through sixth grade is the age there, and the sixth graders are the tellers. So I guess what I need to explain there is that they're not utilizing our full account system. They don't have access to look up everybody's accounts and balances and everything. They're tracking the deposits on an Excel spreadsheet. So we have a list of all the students that have an account, and then, it's each week who brought in what amount. And then I'm taking, all of that back to our main branch, and our real paid tellers are the ones actually running those
Yeah, I bet they
deposits.
love that. I have a third grader and I could see him just like loving to be the bank teller, right? Like
Yeah,
that's the great age. And I love all the skills that these students are learning. Like these are things they can put on their resume. They probably can have you be your
absolutely.
reference. Like these are just real life skills, the confidence that's being built here, the face-to-face interactions, even the social skills, like it's just covering the whole spectrum. It's amazing.
Yes.
Lisa had a follow-up question. How does the student's money, oh no, and she's just said last one. No, there's you can ask as many as you need to, Lisa. How does the student money make it to the branch and what is the average number of deposits on that one day of the week? I was also curious how many students are at the school because you said 500 deposits. I was curious how that correlated to like I just was curious for like the context there. So yeah, so how does the money make it to the branch? It sounds like you take it, but you can clarify that, Ashley. Average number of deposits, and then she's asking if Ash or Jess would be willing to provide more extensive guidance if they decided to pilot something like that. And
Absolutely.
that's
Good deal.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to warn you, the lunch bell is going to ring. So I
Okay.
apologize again for another bell,
It's
but
all good.
for middle school. But with that being said, so just to clarify, so Ashley has another colleague, so they kind of switch off depending, or if one has vacation or meetings or a conference or training or something. So there's another colleague, her name is Jenna Lee. They're always there. So although I'm the staff person there, I'm bebopping around saying good morning to kids. I'm in and around that area, but as the teacher, I'm not like fully responsible to hover over the cash at all given moment. So that's kind of nice from the teacher perspective is that Simplicity really takes the lead on it. So Ashley or Jenna Lee, full-time Simplicity staff members, one of them, if not both of them, um, they're there and then they're the ones that have done. Ashley will do the training with our student tellers and volunteers every fall. So she touches base with them and then oversees that happening. So if I step out as the teacher, that's no big deal, or I'm greeting someone at the door, tying a shoe, whatever it is. She's overseeing that and facilitating that. And then when they leave, I never have to handle the money. They'll collect it all and then they take that back to the main branch with them. So from a teacher perspective, I love it because that is not put on me that I have to, worry about that necessarily or keep things, you wouldn't keep them in your desk drawers, but like hang on to all of these things. So that's been a huge thing where we can partner in that. But Simplicity really, they're from their staff perspective, they take care of it from start to finish. And then I don't have to worry about any of that. As far as deposits, it really depends on the week. Today we had 20, so it just really
Anyone?
depends. Oh, 21. Woo woo. All right. So, and again, I'm not there for every instant. So, a kid might slip in and I'll greet them, but then they kind of circle around how our setup is. So 21 student deposits. So again, it just depends, like after the holidays or after school break, it might be a little bit slow because kids are, forgot. And, just after Easter, we had that Monday off of school. So the first day back was a Tuesday, which is a Simplicity Credit Union day, but we didn't have as many just because it feels like a Monday. So you've got it ebbs and flows. But 21, I would say we range probably, I don't give or take around maybe 18 per week. Again, it depends. It fluctuates. So, yeah, that hopefully will answer that question there. And then, could you remind me, Natalie, what was the last part of that question? I apologize.
Oh, no, that was it. She wanted to know how money got back to the branch and the average
Yep.
number of deposits. And I was actually just
Oh,
curious how many
perfect.
students were in the school, kind of for like a
Oh,
context of,
yeah, we have about 4K through 12th grade. I think we're right about 480, give or take. I'm not,
okay,
yep. So we're a
okay, so
relatively small,
500
yeah, rural
deposits a
district.
year is like, that's a pretty good measure amount of students that are
Absolutely.
participating.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. So yeah, so it's been a yeah, really cool adventure. So
Okay. Okay, cool. And Lisa also wanted to know if you'd be willing to provide extensive, some more
mhm.
extensive background. And Lisa, if you want to email me, if and when you get to that point, I can work on connecting you with Jessica and Ashley.
Yes,
That,
absolutely.
okay.
And we could
Absolutely.
definitely, yep, meet
Yeah.
some other time via Zoom and talk through that. Absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah. So you can email Bonsai support or I'm Natalie at Bonsai, whatever you prefer. And then we've got a question from Carter. He's saying, do the Mennonite/Amish communities utilize financial literacy within the loyal community? And is there any interaction with your educational opportunities? Which is an interesting question.
That is a great question. Not yet. So that hasn't been an area we've dove or explored yet, but I love that thought. And there's definitely maybe some there's definitely room for exploration. So I'm going to jot that down because because we have a huge Amish and Mennonite population in our county here in north rural central Wisconsin. So that's a great question. I'm going to jot that down and see what we can explore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
many.
have not explored that avenue a lot in terms of simplicity. I mean, we have, um, our brick and mortar branches, we have Amish Mennonite, more Mennonite usually, that come in and, I mean, utilize the branch and the services there, but we have not engaged in far as financial education, but
Yeah, that's a great
yeah, definitely
question.
an
I like
Yeah.
opportunity
that.
there.
Yeah.
Maybe you take your loyal branch on the road. Who knows?
Hey, wouldn't that be fun? I love it.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Well, we're almost up to our time here, and this has just gone so quickly. I really loved your suggestions for the student. I'm looking at my notes I wrote down here. Did we talk? We talked about ideas for schools without older students. Oh yeah, you did. You talked about just having the whoever's the oldest, most senior there, which I love and I'm sure they love. We talked about parental involvement. It sounds like your family fun night is another way to like get parents involved as well, right?
Yes, definitely.
And get them on board and the job skills and just so amazing. Let me see if there's any other questions. And I don't think we have any, but this was so great. Ashley, Jessica, thank you so much for your time. Teachers, thank you for joining us. We love your participation and just joining us here. This is such a great idea, such a great example of what a partnership can really do for students and for the community. And at Banzai, one of our taglines here is learn by doing. And
Mhm.
that's what you're doing, right? Like it's so great for these students to get the hands-on experience, even depositing the dime, the penny, and seeing like, oh, how does the interest work? Reading the statements. I loved the school trip, like the field trip to the ATM, to even see, and understand like if I have questions about this, I can figure out the answer. I mean, just so amazing. So great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much for
much.
having us.
We
Okay, everyone
appreciate so
have a
much.
great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.